Hey there YouTube, my name is Kristen Marie. I'm a licensed esthetician, an educator, mentor, a YouTuber, and a mom. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode, and before we dive in, you already know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we're on our way to 100,000 subscribers, and oh my gosh, I wish I could scream right now, but Kristen's doing a service on a client, so I have to tone it down. But you guys, I am so happy thinking about reaching that milestone together. You guys, some of you have seen me grow and share my story for the last almost 4 years now since I opened up Radiance by Kristen Marie & Co. So again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support, for your love, your encouragement. I know I have been going through some ups and downs the last few months, and I just thank you so much for encouraging me and keeping me going through these times. And so, speaking of going through ups and downs, I definitely have been reflecting and thinking about this topic. And it is one of those topics that is pretty taboo because I think a lot of people don't like to talk about money or finances. It's very personal. It can be very stressful. And so I hope that me making this video is just gonna, again, show you that I'm also human and I'm being vulnerable with you and that I'm doing it purely to help you watching this. Whether you are somebody who is a solo esthetician just starting out or whether you're a seasoned solo esthetician, I think these tips and feedback I'm going to give you in this video are going to be just so vital and helpful for you. And it's almost a video for myself too, because I have been implementing some new disciplines and revisiting my goals and things like that. And I think it's so important to do that occasionally throughout your career so that you can stay on track. And so today's video, we're going to be diving into the financial do's and don'ts of being a solo esthetician. And of course, these can pertain to you even if you're not a self-employed esthetician. This could still be helpful for you no matter honestly what career path you've taken. But I think particularly if you're an entrepreneur, self-employed, and you're managing your own retirement, your future, your finances, this is going to be extremely helpful to hear and be reminded of. These tips may be regurgitated a little bit from previous videos, but I think, again, I just want to give you that gentle reminder that this stuff is important and we should not sleep on this topic. So if you want to hear more about that, grab that pen and paper and let's get into it. Are you awake? You guys paying attention? Okay, let's dive into this financial do's and don'ts talk. But again, before we get started, big giant disclaimer. I am not a financial professional. I am not a lawyer. I'm not a tax person. I am Kristen Marie, owner of Radiance by Kristen Marie & Co., YouTuber, mom, trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am sharing with you the things that I have learned, the things that I have researched, and whatever it is that you want to take from this video, that is totally up to you, and it is not set in stone. I will be honest, I have heard some critique about my advice giving when it comes to finances and taxes, so I'm not going to dive too much into percentages or taxes, things like that, because I really truly think that those are topics and discussions that you need to have with your licensed professionals that are handling your finances and your partner if you are with somebody and sharing financial responsibility with somebody. Again, big disclaimer. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just sharing with you what I have been doing personally, what I've been researching, all of that good stuff. So I really do hope that you see that that's my true intent sharing this. And of course, I've shared financials in the past. I haven't really been doing that so much because I don't think it's really about how much you're making. Now, if you want to go and watch those videos, you can. Those tips are still valid and still relevant. But yes, over time, those numbers have changed, and I'm here to remind you too that life will throw you curveballs, okay? And so the first do that I want to encourage you to do when it comes to your finances, please do keep saving. No matter what season you're in, whether you are high up there making tons of money or you are low struggling to keep the doors open, okay? No matter what, it is important to stay intentional, to have goals, and to save. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because I'm so thankful that I did have a period of time when I first opened my business that I was living with my grandmother. I was disciplined when it came to saving, and I did dive into this a bit deeper in my Going Solo series. So if you didn't know, I do offer some online resources, coaching, courses, so check that out down below in the description box. But we do dive a bit deeper into like what percentage of what should you put away and what kinds of things you should save for. That's what that course covers. But generally, yes, I stayed pretty darn disciplined for the first 2 years of my business, and now kind of being in the position that I'm in where, yeah, I have, kind of taken a little step back. I've traveled, I've put my money toward myself, obviously too toward my son, and with life happening, my son does have special needs, so he's required a bit more care when it comes to his schooling and just time and money invested into who watches him. And for those of you who've been watching the journey for a little bit, you guys know I was struggling finding a good caretaker for him, and thank goodness I actually had a client refer me somebody who has just been a dream to work with, and I just, you know who you are. I'm so thankful for you. And but yeah, it is costing a little more money to hire somebody who has that level of experience and passion for their job, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. And two, having a child that gets sick all the time. I've been getting sick non-stop. Like, I swear, during this winter season, I've had to take time off like 3 or 4 times for different reasons. And I think it's just the season I'm in. It's like, I want to be available, obviously, for my for my clients, to grow my business. I have so many goals and things that I want to do. And I'm just struggling right now finding the time and the energy to do those things. So I have had to dip into savings in the last few months because I haven't been able to work as much. Again, there's certain seasons in your business that are going to be plentiful and slower. And I do feel like for me personally, it has been a little bit slower. I've had to tell myself, like, what? It's okay sometimes to make just enough to pay your bills, okay? I think I was getting used to seeing such a large amount of money in my account when things were going really, really well when I first started. And now it's like, whew, okay, I'm just having just enough to pay the bills, a little bit extra, but not anything crazy where I can go and like buy a designer bag tomorrow. Okay, I'm just being real with you guys. That's the season I'm in. I'm kind of trying to survive right now, and that's okay. Sometimes you're going to go through those seasons. Life happens. Like, people get sick. Sometimes you lose a job, or, your spouse loses a job. And I feel like I've been seeing a lot of that happening even just with my clients. So I think it's just a time that we're in right now and a season we're in, and just remember that it is a season. It's what any business will go through, and so you need to be prepared for that. So when you are having those seasons of plenty, you need to stay extra disciplined with saving. Now, another do I have for you is for you to pick up a book that I have been listening to. Actually, I did the audiobook and I have the physical book so that I can like write notes and stuff in it. But it's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit. I forget his last name. But he actually came out with a Netflix show that talked about, finances and whatnot. And I will warn you, he does have a bit of a different viewpoint than I think most financial authors have, because he doesn't tell you, you should stop drinking coffee every day. You should stop doing this. There's a lot of, I think, talk around you need to cut things out when you are trying to budget and stuff. And the word budget, just that word in itself is just nobody likes to hear it. It's like the word diet, So I think the main point in that book that I really enjoy is that he wants you to define what your rich life is. Rich doesn't necessarily mean being a millionaire. Rich could mean that you get to wake up every day with a roof over your head and food on your table, and your kids are smiling and happy, and your spouse is loving you. There's that kind of rich as well. And I think I've had to kind of wrestle with myself a little bit too, of okay, the glamour and the success that I think social media likes to display when it comes to working for yourself or being an entrepreneur or being an influencer, that it's very glamorous and it's like, woo, you know, like it's all about the money and it's all about designer and it's all about this. Yes, you know, to an extent those things do bring me joy, but I do feel like my mind has shifted a little bit toward like, hey, you know what, it's actually like rich to me means this, and it means being able to have the freedom to go on a hike on a Monday morning when 5 years ago I was waking up and going to the office. Like that to me is rich, okay? Being able to go on a hike, you know, you guys saw that video the other day when I was getting over being sick again, but like being able to do that and being able to live by the ocean. I mean, there's so many little things that I can be very thankful for. And I think all of you guys could also look at your life and pick apart, you know, all the things that you don't have, but there's so many things that you do have. And so I hope that you can take the time to look at your life and say, wow, you know, actually I am very blessed. I am very rich. It's very important to stay in tune with yourself in that way. And again, to reevaluate your goals, to save when time is plenty, because there will be ups and downs. That's just part of having a business, at least from what I've seen. And also too, now getting into the 4th year of my business being open, there's equipment and supplies and all those things that need to be replaced, and that's not cheap. You know, I had to buy a bunch of new sheets, replace some things, and yeah, that stuff costs money. So having a savings for your business specifically is important as well, because you just never know when something's going to break or something needs to be replaced, and you want to be able to have the funds to do that. I've been doing a handful of coaching sessions with you guys who are just starting your businesses, and I keep stressing to every single person, like, look, start simple. Like, I started super simple. Once I started making money and I was profiting, that's when I started investing back into the business and getting those more high quality products or different machines or things like that. Know that you can start very simple and still be successful. And also too, I think saving and having to use your savings, I think sometimes there was moments where I was like, man, you know, I don't even want to touch this amount of money. But that's what it's there for. It's there to give you that security when things are slower or you had to take some time off, and that's okay. That is totally okay. But just again, get right back to being disciplined, like replenishing what you used from your savings account. Now, on top of savings, just like your regular savings, and I'm talking about a savings for emergencies, savings for business expenses. Now, there's also going to be a bucket of savings for things you enjoy doing, and Ramit in the book talks about this a bit more. But it is also planning for future events like a wedding or trip or, you know, things like that. And so you do want to also have a savings account for that. Be a bit more disciplined with separating things. As I was having my savings for my taxes and my emergency and all of that kind of lumped into one. And so I found that separating them so I don't look at the account and think that I got all this money when like half of it is for taxes. So don't be fooled by that. You know, open up some separate accounts, sub savings accounts, which Ramit goes into detail in that book of how to do that. But I think that's a very smart move to kind of create different sub savings accounts for different things so that it's very crystal clear what the money is for and what it should be used for and not used for. Another savings bucket that I want to highly stress is retirement. Oh yeah, guys, it's my birthday in a couple weeks. Your girl's gonna be 32 years old. Actually, no, I'm excited. I've been loving my 30s, but yes, I've had to kind of have a little bit of a reality check. I would say last year it was like my yes year. I was like, you know what? I've been tied up for the last 4 years. I want to just say yes to everything. This year, I want to have new experiences, which I am going on a trip for my birthday, so subscribe to the vlog channel because you'll be able to see where I'm going for my birthday. But back to what I was saying about retirement. I did also have this conversation with Kristen because I was like, look, girl, you got a raise last year. I did give her a nice raise. And I told her, I was like, have you been saving for retirement yet? Have you been saving for taxes yet? Because, you know, she's still young. She's still under her parents' filing, so she doesn't have to worry about that as much. But I think I wish I would have started at her age implementing some of these disciplines. Now, it was a little different for me. I did not live with my family. I moved out when I was 18. I went to college. I didn't know anything about credit cards or anything like that, so I did open some credit cards. I took out student loans, and I was, finances were just not talked about in my house, and I did find myself getting into debt, and still am paying off that debt. Thankfully, I'm almost done paying off one of my private student loans that I took out. I'm about to finish paying off my car in a couple months. So we're making progress, okay? We're making progress. But there are some things that I've had to carry with me over these last several years because I was not taught discipline. I was not taught about how interest works. I was not taught about the do's and don'ts of finances. So I've had to figure it out up to this point. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, because I also didn't know anything about retirement and how important that is. And I think that the sooner you can start, the better. Any book honestly will tell you about finances that it's about compound interest, and time it will be on your side. If you start in your 20s versus your 30s, you got 10 years more that you could add upon what you would save in your 30s and 40s and 50s. So the younger you are, and if you haven't started just yet, I implore you to start thinking about your retirement and saving. We're gonna stop working at some point, and we need to have money to pay bills and to survive on when we're older. Unless, you just want to keep working until you die, basically. I hate to say it that way, but I know I don't want to do that. I would actually love to be able to retire early. But in order to be able to do that, you gotta plan it out. You gotta calculate it out. Like, how much money am I gonna need per month for X amount of years to be comfortable? What I've also been doing is I have been watching just very basic videos, especially on YouTube, about stocks and bonds and investments. Like, just type in beginner level stocks and investment do's and don'ts. Just look up something that's very beginner level and just start to learn about it. I'm not really currently at the point where I feel like I'm ready to really heavily invest, because I do have that debt I want to pay down first, and then I want to start taking a little bit more risk and doing my own investments. But of course, I still have the retirement account investing on its own already. It's just such a fine balance that you need to find. But even if you're putting in $10 a month, I'm not even kidding you, you need to put something away. Again, do your research, watch videos, start educating yourself. Main point is, do save and do put away for your retirement, because you're going to need it. It's something we don't like to think about or talk about, but I'm talking about it and I'm telling you about it right now. So hopefully, if you're going to walk away with from this video with anything, that's what was drilled into your mind just now. Okay, one more point I want to make. No, actually 2 more points. One more point is, I know I mentioned student debt and credit cards and things like that. I've taken out loans before, and I'm not saying that those things are bad. Those actually, I'm going to make that a do in this video. Do use your credit card. Do take out loans. Now, what you don't want to do is mismanage that and take out money that you cannot pay back, or you're not going to be disciplined paying back. But the positive part about using a credit card or taking out a loan is that you're building credit. You're building credit for your future business. And if you are someone like me who is thinking about opening a larger location, which have been looking at places, by the way, but not ready to make a move just yet, but we're trying to just manifest it and look around. But they're going to look at your credit score. They're going to look at your FICO report. They're gonna dive deep into, hey, is this person going to be trustworthy with this amount of money, and how soon will I be able to see a return on that? And so if you have debt that sits for a long time, if you have a lot of credit utilization going on and you're not being responsible with it, then of course you gotta fix that. But does that mean you shouldn't take out, use a credit card or get a loan? No, that's what it's there for. Sometimes you don't have cash for a house. It's meant to help you. So as long as you're taking those resources as a help and you're being good and disciplined about paying it back, then cool. talk to your professional about that. It's okay to take out money. It's okay to borrow. It's okay to use credit cards. Those are all good things. Those are all things that are going to help build your credit and make you look like a responsible lender. And you want that, especially if you're going to plan to expand past just being a solo esthetician. Now, if you just want to say a solo esthetician, that's totally fine too. But I still think just in life in general, if you want to qualify for a home loan or an auto loan or any sort of loan for anything, like, you're going to want to have good credit and you're going to want to be a responsible borrower. And I know some of you watching this are pretty young, and I did not have this kind of mentorship growing up. So I hope that you can see that that's my true intent behind making any of these videos. I have learned that, yes, it is important to keep certain things private. And I know that, there's been talk about, how you should file your taxes and what's allowed and what's not allowed. I honestly think that that is going to be a conversation that you will have with your tax person. I'm just going to say it. It's nobody's business how you manage your money. It's only important to share finances with someone that you are financially invested in. The people that are actually in it with you, okay? Anybody outside of that, can just be taken the wrong way. It can be misconstrued. You can be misled, because everybody's going to speak upon what they know has worked for them, but everybody's situation is different. But I think there's just some general principles that apply in this video that I hope can apply to anybody's situation. But it's just important to not ignore this topic, because it can sneak and bite you back quick. Life has ups and downs. You are going to go through so many different changes and phases through life. When you have children, when you go to school, when you, economic ups and downs. There's going to be so many things that come and test you and your business and you as a person. And I think that is just important. And I think here, I can agree in this community here that we are independent, hardworking, thriving, beauty-loving, skincare-loving people, okay? We need to take ownership over our futures. Even if you are married or have somebody who is financially helping you out or taking care of you, I just think that it's super important to have your own plan in place and never rely on just one thing to carry you and making sure that you have a rich life. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you gained something positive from this. I hope you leave this video feeling good and excited and energized. I know I'm feeling that way, and you guys, it's a two-way street. It has always been a two-way street, because if I didn't have you, I don't know where I'd be right now either. So I thank you so much again for taking the time to watch this video. I will see you guys back here next week for a new one. Now, I will warn you, the following week I will be taking a break because I'll be on my birthday trip, and I will be posting a vlog about that trip as well. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone that you think it'll be helpful for. So until then, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.